I knew from the time that I was 23 that I wanted to bring healthcare to people who really need it. So this was in the early 80s, and I was able to negotiate my education and my master's degree so that I could spend half of my clinical time caring for adults with HIV infection and advanced AIDS, and half in the primary care clinic taking care of very vulnerable adults. You know, it was hard work to do, but you felt like you were working towards something that was so much greater than yourself.
Catherine's work reaches patients who otherwise would not receive care, that are vulnerable and not engaged. It doesn't matter what the day of the week is, the time of the day, the weather, the location. Catherine is there with the clinic, ready to care for a patient who needs care.
She really invests her all in every single person that she sees. I joke sometimes that whatever's wrong with you, she'll fix it.
Kathy here is like Mother Teresa of the hood. She interacts with them like they're family. I can't say nothing bad. Everything she do is good.
We always say, like, you hit the lottery and met an angel if you have Catherine as your nurse.
She's just the same person in every aspect of her life. She just can't give people enough. She's just like a saint.
Professional care in non-traditional venues. That's what we're about. I recognized we needed to be where the patients were at. I could sit in my white coat in the office and never see the people that we'll see here all day. And we want to be sure that we're addressing vulnerable communities that have all of the unmet health care needs, the comorbidities that come with infectious disease, trauma, mental illness, homelessness, substance use, domestic violence. We've taken this program statewide from Springfield to Provincetown. We have had tremendous success.
Catherine, as an educator, she teaches students to meet patients where they're at, to really care and understand that patients come with a story. They may have come from a rough place and they need some understanding and support, and we may be that only linkage.
When you work with vulnerable populations, you're seeing people homeless, living on the streets, living in shelters, so many broken people. What they learn being out in the environment, bringing the services to the people, will always remain with them. You get a better understanding. Taking it a step further, as Catherine does with the medical van, she's going deep in to the most challenged communities and working with people who are truly in need and bringing them services they would never ever have.
She's really the one who has taught me to be a nurse. Nursing school plus Catherine is like nursing school times 2.
Any success that I've had professionally and most of my personal achievements are because she's been behind me.
Everybody wants the same things in life. How do you bridge the commonality of our shared human experience? Nurses have so much power to be able to do that. You're with people at some of the best times in their life and at some of the worst times in their life. It's a privilege to do what we do. You're caring for other human beings. How could it not be?
Throughout my high school years, I worked in a hospital setting doing a variety of things. My father was an administrative engineer at Southwood Hospital, and he was talking to the staff in radiation oncology one day and thought it was something that I'd be interested in. So they made arrangements for me to shadow in the department for a few days, and I had the most amazing experience with the patients and the staff. It just really clicked. I applied to Laboure College that year and graduated in 1993.
He came as a radiation therapy student, and he's just progressed through the ranks of development here. He became a dosimetrist, then he became the chief therapist. He left for a time being, went back to become a paramedic and a firefighter and a dad. So he's kind of the village people all in one. He'll be the first one here in the morning and the last one to leave at night.
He is very bright, very compassionate. It's important for a radiation therapist to be compassionate because they are dealing with a patient at the worst time of their life. They've had a diagnosis of cancer. To be able to have empathy and understanding and get them through their treatments, it's really important.
When I met Ashlyn in 2006, she was only 2 years old, close to the same age as my children at the time. She had a medulloblastoma, the posterior fossa of the brain. She was just an amazing young lady, and her parents were very engaged from the beginning.
I was nervous, but then I wasn't at like 2 weeks later.
Hey, how are you, sweetheart? Nice to see you.
He has a big heart. He always let me wear my pajamas, so I was always comfortable. It's kind of cute. Say that.
Usually patients at that age need anesthesia every day. Although it's necessary, it's not ideal to put a patient under every day for that amount of time. So we spent the beginning course of treatment working with Ashlyn and her parents to do the treatments without the anesthesia. One day we decided, well, it was time and we'd give it a shot, so we had anesthesia stay on standby, and we brought Ashlyn into the room. Lined her up for her treatment. She needs to wear a mask that's basically bolted to the table. So having a 2-year-old, for one, it doesn't sit still, and two, to actually bolt them to the table and to be alone in a room was amazing. She did it without any problems at all. It was the most amazing thing. It was such a huge victory for all of us.
You're a parent and you see your 2.5-year-old child doing something that you don't think you could do yourself. It's amazing. We've had some ups and downs in the past 10 years. Really great times and really hard times. Just being able to walk in and get a big hug and a snack together, it makes coming to this kind of place for what we have to do not so hard.
To see Ashlyn grow has been amazing. I get a page to the front desk every so often, and to see Ashlyn there waiting for me and to greet me with the biggest hug makes all the difference in the world.
You could look at him and wonder if it was his child. Given what he does every day and what he does it for, and just seeing how he loves my daughter, it just warms my heart as a parent. We do some pretty hard things, and to see some really positive greatness come from it is, I don't know, I can't even think of a word.
Magnificent?
Magnificent, perfect, yes, magnificent.
My family brought me up to not only rely on my faith in God, but also to give back to the community. It was profound in our house, and it was an expectation.
Donna just seems to develop relationships with people. She's very passionate about what she does, but she's got a caring component.
People like Donna because she's just very nice, kind, loving, helpful, caring.
During the day, I work in national marketing. I create partnerships with organizations and large companies across the country to help support blood drives, to contribute to awareness, and also to contribute to campaigns that will help us make sure we have right type blood available when it's needed.
When I was 8 and I went to have my second open heart surgery, we got to the elevator and my dad got a call that said my surgery was delayed and we didn't have enough blood. I thought they couldn't do my surgery and I thought I was gonna die.
I received a call a few years back that there was a little girl who walked into an area hospital for her second open heart surgery, and she was turned around because there wasn't enough blood available. We reached out to the family, and she became an ambassador for us. And she is just incredible in terms of raising awareness. I also deploy during disasters. I've been out about 14 times, starting with Hurricane Katrina. I was in Newtown for the school shootings. I was in Orlando for the nightclub shootings. I've been to tornadoes, hurricanes, and a host of other disasters that we needed to respond to. And I try to come in and make sure that I can be a beacon of strength, that I can have care and compassion. Sometimes all I can offer in the midst of it is a hug, or a shoulder to lean on, or a reassuring acknowledgement that we're here, we're going to stay as long as we need to.
In situations of crises, Donna brings her caring and compassion. No matter what she does, she's very selfless. Her stories of being in Orlando, her stories of dealing with people that were affected by the Boston Marathon bombing, She just exudes a caring presence. She builds relationships, and I think that's of utmost importance.
One of my favorite things about her is that she likes to go help people, no matter what it takes. And she has this little backpack ready to go, so she can go on the airplane or in her car. She's very good at her job.
When you respond to a Newtown, Connecticut shooting in an elementary school, or if you go to a tornado in Alabama and you have entire towns flattened, or you have cities underwater, or bombings, or other heinous things going on, it's hard to respond. For me, if I can give back to the community, that's all I need. That makes my life mean something. It's at that moment that you come in, you try to help in some small way, and if you can, your volunteer time, your life's work, it makes sense.
The work that she does, not only here in Massachusetts, but across the country, and I think even the world, is very important to the Red Cross and to communities in general. I've watched her work at different events that we've gone to, and she's truly a compassionate person, bringing people together in times of tragedy.
We call ourselves healthcare workers, but I think there's a whole other level that Donna really exemplifies.
Since I was a young child, I was interested in law enforcement or EMS and fire departments in general. I pretty much knew what I wanted to do once I hit high school and became a police officer for the New Bedford Police Department. And I also became a paramedic, which is an advanced EMT. And then the opportunity to come on to the state police presented itself. I've been here with the state police for about 11 years.
He's a special person. He's destined to do the job he does. I could never picture him doing anything else.
Chris came to us with a lot of police experience, and he did his time out in uniform. I've had experience with him over the years in numerous high-profile investigations. He's a very competent investigator. He brings a lot to the table for us.
He's funny, laid back. You wouldn't think he'd be, so he's very laid back, especially we have 3 daughters. Wishes he could be around a lot more, but he's also trying to protect everybody else too. So we have to make the sacrifice, which we do.
April 18th, 2013 started like a somewhat normal shift for me. There had been the Boston Marathon bombings a few days before. Toward the end of my shift that night, I responded to Cambridge, Massachusetts, where a friend, an academy classmate, had been shot and killed by the Tsarnaev brothers. Just a couple hours later, there was a call for assistance from the Watertown Police Department. My partner and I raced over to the scene and engaged the suspects in the corner of Dexter Ave and Laurel Street in that town. Toward the end of the confrontation with the Tsarnaev brothers, I received a gunshot wound to my right femoral artery. It severed the artery and nicked the vein. I pulled myself back up, my partner tackled me and got me to safety. I suffered extreme blood loss on site.
It was chaotic. There were improvised explosive devices still on the ground that other troopers and officers were saying was still live. I took one look at Richard Donahue. From my training as a paramedic, I knew how serious his injuries were. His heart had already stopped. The environment we were in was not safe, so that posed a problem. But also, he was at the point where he'd lost so much blood that anything that we could do for him there was limited. And I was able to recognize that. That's a credit to the training and my experiences.
Trooper Dumont's extra training as a paramedic gave him the tools and the experience, the expertise to know that this officer, this person needs to get up and get out, otherwise he's gonna die.
Fortunately for us, the ambulance was able to get there rather quickly. We delivered Officer Donahue in approximately 10 minutes or less after he was wounded, which is a great delivery time to a hospital in an emergency like that. I was still very concerned that we had lost too much time.
He came home, walked in the door, and we just gave the look to each other. It was complete silence. It was a lot of emotion.
On that Sunday, someone sent me a message and said, hey, Dick Donahue's not only awake, conscious, he's talking and cracking jokes with his wife, and he seems to be fine.
Chris could not believe the outcome. Everything happened just the way it was supposed to happen.
Officer Donahue needed so many blood products that they went through the entire blood supply at Mount Auburn Hospital and had called other hospitals in Boston, and also the blood bank from the Red Cross. It was a team effort. It was what I want to call a chain of survival. If one person had done anything different that day, I think he may not have survived.
Well, it gets a little old buying Chris beers, every time we go out. I think he's earned a few, but we're getting toward the end of that. I don't know how many times you can say thank you, but we've formed an incredible friendship over the last 4 years now. We've collaborated with the American Red Cross. We've provided some police training. We've received awards together. So it's been sort of an amazing ride from something that was almost very, very tragic.
Both Dick and I have joined together to tell his story to organizations, to police academies, to administrators on how important the blood donation and tourniquets are. Also how important it is just to be prepared that these things can happen in any community.
One of the other things that we're very proud about is the awards that Chris has received, the Mass State Police Medal of Honor, the National Top Cops Award, and Trooper of the Year from the National Association of State Troopers.
I'm very proud of him every day. I try to tell him. I definitely try to tell him. Yeah, he's pretty awesome.
My whole career in law enforcement, 16, 17 years now, my time as an EMT and a paramedic. I approach every person the same. I approach every incident with caution and the idea that, I may have to use any of the skills that I have, expecting that I'll be able to make a difference.